Welcome to Audiobook Haven. Live for yourself. Learn to live without anyone. Introduction. Imagine a life where every decision you make is your own. A life where you wake up each morning knowing that your path is yours to create, free from the weight of others' expectations or the pressure to conform. In this life, you're not chasing validation, and the opinions of others no longer have the power to dictate your worth or direction. Picture yourself living unapologetically, fully aligned with your true self, acting from a place of inner clarity and strength. Live for yourself. Learn to live without anyone is your roadmap to this kind of freedom, a life where you are the author, the creator, and the sole decision-maker. It's about letting go of the need to please others and embracing the power of living on your own terms. Ready to break free from the shackles of others' judgments and start living with purpose, passion, and independence? Let's dive in and discover how to transform your life into the bold, empowering journey it's meant to be. Chapter 1. The Radical Freedom of Self-Ownership. Living for yourself begins with a bold and transformative declaration. I own my life. This powerful statement isn't just about being self-reliant in the traditional sense. It's about recognizing that every aspect of your life, from the smallest decisions to the grandest goals, belongs entirely to you. Your choices, your thoughts, your actions, and your destiny are in your hands. No one else has the right to dictate how you live, what you should want, or who you should become. The truth is, many of us unknowingly hand over the reins of our lives to others, whether it's our family, friends, society, or even the media. We let other people's opinions, expectations, and judgments shape the way we live. But the moment you realize that your life is your own, everything begins to change. Reclaiming your power comes from taking full responsibility for your life. This means accepting ownership of every decision you've made and understanding that your current situation is a direct result of the choices you've made in the past. It's empowering to know that while you can't always control the events that happen to you, you do have complete control over how you respond to them. Instead of blaming others or external circumstances for your current reality, you start to see that you have the power to change it. This doesn't mean taking on unnecessary guilt or feeling overwhelmed by responsibility. It simply means realizing that your life is in your hands and you have the ability to shape it according to your true desires. Owning your life goes beyond the idea of self-reliance. It's about making decisions that align with your most authentic self, regardless of what others might think or expect. It's about pursuing your dreams and passions without asking for permission, without seeking approval, and without worrying about what others will say. Imagine making choices because they resonate deeply with you, not because you're trying to meet someone else's standards. When you begin to take full ownership, you start making decisions based on what feels right for you, what makes you happy, and what aligns with your purpose in life. You become your own authority. The moment you take ownership of your life, everything changes. You stop being a passive observer of your own story and become an active participant in creating the life you truly want. No longer are you waiting for others to tell you what to do or how to think. Instead, you step into the driver's seat, steering your life in the direction you choose. When you truly understand and embrace the concept of self-ownership, the weight of external pressure begins to lift, and you realize that you have everything you need to create a life that is uniquely yours. This shift in mindset is a profound transformation that will empower you to live more boldly, confidently, and authentically. Chapter 2. The Power of Unshakable Self-Belief. Imagine living in a world where nothing and no one can shake your belief in yourself, where you stand firm in your worth, regardless of the opinions, judgments, or expectations of others. This is the power of unshakable self-belief. It's the unwavering confidence that you are capable, worthy, and deserving of everything you desire in life without needing anyone else's approval. Most of us grow up seeking validation from others. We seek approval from parents, teachers, friends, colleagues, and even strangers, constantly questioning if we are good enough. Society tells us that our worth is based on how we perform, what we achieve, or how others perceive us. But what if your worth was not dependent on any of that? What if instead your worth came from within? True self-belief is not about being arrogant or boasting. It's about understanding and accepting that you are enough as you are, right now. Self-belief is not something you are born with. It's something you build, layer by layer. It's a process of transforming the way you think about yourself. To start, you need to stop listening to the negative voices in your head, the ones that tell you you're not good enough or that you can't do it. Those voices come from fear, doubt, and past experiences, but they do not define who you are. By recognizing that these thoughts are not your truth, you can replace them with empowering beliefs that fuel your confidence. The more you affirm your strengths and abilities, the stronger your self-belief becomes. To build self-belief, you also need to surround yourself with positivity and people who uplift you. The people you spend time with have a huge impact on your self-esteem. Choose to be around those who see your potential, support your dreams, and encourage you to be your best self. This positive reinforcement will help reinforce your belief in yourself, making it more difficult for negative influences to penetrate your mind. Self-belief is also about taking risks and stepping out of your comfort zone. It's about trusting yourself enough to take action, even when the outcome is uncertain. When you believe in yourself, you understand that failure is not a reflection of your worth. It's simply a part of the process. Each failure is an opportunity to learn, grow, and improve. It's through action and experience that you reinforce your belief in your own abilities. Once you begin to truly believe in yourself, your actions, decisions, and life path will naturally align with that belief. You'll stop second-guessing yourself and start moving forward with clarity and purpose. No longer will you seek approval or validation from others. Instead, you'll live life from a place of self-assurance, knowing that you are capable of achieving whatever you set your mind to. The power of unshakable self-belief is the foundation for a life lived fully and authentically. When you believe in yourself, nothing is impossible. You become unstoppable, and with this belief, you will face challenges with resilience, pursue your dreams with passion, and stand firm in who you are, no matter what the world throws your way. Chapter 3. Disconnecting from the need for external approval. Imagine walking through life without the constant need for validation or approval from others. No longer would you seek out others' opinions or wait for their approval before making decisions. Living authentically means breaking free from the invisible chains of external validation and learning to trust yourself enough to make choices that reflect your true desires, not the expectations of others. From a young age, most of us are taught to seek approval, to please our parents, teachers, peers, and society. We're conditioned to think that we need others' approval to feel worthy, loved, or successful. But this need for external validation can leave us feeling lost, overwhelmed, and disconnected from who we truly are. It leads us to make decisions based on what we think others want, rather than what we want for ourselves. This can create a life of anxiety, self-doubt, and resentment. So what if you could break free from this cycle? What if you could live a life where you make choices that are true to your values and passions, without constantly looking over your shoulder for approval? The first step in disconnecting from the need for approval is to recognize that you are already enough as you are. You don't need anyone's permission to live your life. Your worth doesn't depend on how others perceive you or what they think of your choices. When you start to internalize this truth, you will begin to let go of the constant urge to please others. This doesn't mean you should abandon relationships or disregard the opinions of those you love. Rather, it means learning to prioritize your own voice over theirs. The next step is to develop the ability to set boundaries. For many, the fear of disapproval stems from not wanting to upset others or cause conflict. But the truth is, setting healthy boundaries is an act of self-respect. It's about recognizing your right to make decisions that are best for you, even if they don't align with others' expectations. Saying no doesn't make you selfish. It makes you strong. When you set boundaries and stick to them, you reinforce the idea that your needs, desires, and well-being come first. Another key aspect of breaking free from external approval is learning how to silence the inner critic. Often, the need for approval stems from the critical voice in our head that tells us we're not good enough or that our choices won't be accepted. This voice is loud and persistent, but it's not the truth. By practicing self-compassion and reframing negative self-talk, you can quiet that inner critic. Replace the thoughts of self-doubt with affirmations of self-worth and encouragement. When you start to trust yourself and your decisions, that voice will lose its power. It's also important to remember that not everyone will agree with your choices, and that's okay. We live in a world where people have different opinions, values, and beliefs. Trying to please everyone will only lead to frustration and exhaustion. Instead, focus on surrounding yourself with people who support and respect your journey. When you embrace your authentic self, the right people will be drawn to you, and the need for external approval will gradually fade away. Disconnecting from the need for external approval is about embracing your individuality and making peace with the fact that you cannot control what others think. When you live for yourself and prioritize your own needs, you free yourself from the emotional burden of seeking validation. This freedom allows you to live with greater confidence, authenticity, and joy, as you no longer rely on the opinions of others to define your sense of worth. By breaking free from the approval trap, you'll find a life that is truly yours to live, free from fear, judgment, and self-doubt. You'll begin to trust yourself more deeply, make decisions with confidence, and live in alignment with your deepest desires. This is the true power of living for yourself. Chapter 4. Embracing your authentic self. Living for yourself means stepping into the most powerful version of who you truly are, free from the masks, expectations, and labels that others try to place on you. It's about shedding the versions of yourself that you've been told to be and embracing the person you've always been deep inside. But in a world that often pressures us to conform, how can we truly embrace our authentic selves? The journey to authenticity starts with self-awareness. It's about taking the time to understand who you are beneath the surface, what your true desires, values, and passions are. We often get so caught up in pleasing others or following society's expectations that we lose sight of our own true essence. But when you begin to ask yourself the tough questions, what do I truly want? What makes me feel alive? You start to uncover the layers of conditioning and external influence that have shaped your identity. Authenticity means letting go of the need for external validation and allowing yourself to be vulnerable. This vulnerability is not a weakness, it's a strength. When you allow yourself to be real, to show up as you truly are, you invite others to do the same. It creates deeper, more meaningful connections with those who accept you for who you are. Being authentic is not about being perfect. It's about embracing all parts of yourself, the good, the bad, and everything in between, and knowing that you are enough, just as you are. One of the biggest obstacles to embracing your authentic self is the fear of judgment. Many of us have been conditioned to believe that we must meet certain standards to be loved or accepted. We fear being judged, criticized, or rejected if we don't fit into the mold that others expect us to. But the truth is, the people who truly matter will love you for your authenticity, not for how well you fit into a certain image. Those who judge you for being yourself are not the ones you need in your life. True authenticity is about standing firm in who you are, even if it means standing alone at times. To embrace your authentic self, you must also release the need to compare yourself to others. Social media, advertisements, and societal norms constantly bombard us with images of what success, beauty, and happiness should look like. This constant comparison can lead to feelings of inadequacy and self-doubt. But when you focus on your own journey and stop measuring your worth against others, you begin to see the unique beauty in your own path. You are not meant to be like everyone else. Your authenticity lies in your individuality. Another key part of embracing your authentic self is learning to trust your instincts and inner wisdom. We all have an inner compass that guides us toward what feels right for us, but often we drown it out with the noise of external opinions. Trusting yourself means listening to that inner voice, following your gut, and making decisions that align with your values and desires. It means stopping the cycle of second-guessing yourself and finally trusting that you are capable of making the right choices for your life. Embracing your authentic self is not always an easy path, but it is the only one that will lead you to true fulfillment. It requires courage to stand apart from the crowd, to let go of old beliefs, and to embrace the freedom of living life on your terms. When you begin to live authentically, you stop living for others and start living for yourself. You become more aligned with your true purpose, and in doing so, you create a life that is uniquely yours. Living authentically opens the door to deeper self-love and acceptance. It allows you to break free from the chains of comparison, judgment, and self-doubt. As you fully step into who you truly are, you find a sense of inner peace and freedom that can never be shaken. When you embrace your authentic self, you not only transform your own life, but you also inspire others to do the same. Authenticity is contagious. When you show up as your true self, you give others permission to do the same, creating a ripple effect of honesty, vulnerability, and self-empowerment. So, let go of the need to fit in, stop pretending to be something you're not, and start living as the real, unapologetic version of yourself. It's time to embrace the power of your authentic self and live a life that is deeply fulfilling and truly yours. Chapter 5. Creating boundaries that protect your peace. Living for yourself requires not only embracing your authenticity and owning your life, but also creating boundaries that protect your inner peace. In a world that constantly demands your time, attention, and energy, learning how to set healthy boundaries is a crucial step toward living authentically and without guilt. Boundaries are not about shutting people out or being selfish. They are about honoring your own needs, protecting your mental and emotional well-being, and ensuring that your time and energy are spent in ways that serve your personal growth and happiness. The concept of boundaries often feels uncomfortable to many people, especially those who have been conditioned to please others. We fear that setting boundaries will upset people, create conflict, or lead to rejection. But the truth is, not setting boundaries is a silent form of self-betrayal. When we allow others to overstep our limits or violate our needs, we undermine our own well-being and create a life filled with stress, resentment, and burnout. Boundaries are a form of self-respect. They allow you to define where your responsibility ends and where others begins. Setting boundaries isn't about controlling others. It's about taking responsibility for your own happiness and making sure that you are not overextending yourself in ways that harm your health or peace of mind. When you set boundaries, you take back control over your life and teach others how to treat you. You show them that your time, energy, and emotions are valuable and that you are deserving of respect. The first step in creating healthy boundaries is identifying what your limits are. Often, we don't know where to draw the line because we've been so used to saying yes to everything and everyone. It's essential to tune into your feelings and listen to your body. Pay attention to moments when you feel overwhelmed, drained, or resentful. These are signs that your boundaries are being crossed. Take note of the situations, people, or circumstances that cause you discomfort or stress, and ask yourself, what do I need to protect myself in this situation? This awareness will help you start recognizing where boundaries need to be set. Once you have identified your limits, the next step is to communicate them clearly and assertively. This doesn't mean being rude or dismissive. It means expressing your needs calmly and confidently. You have every right to say no without feeling guilty or explaining yourself endlessly. Saying no doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you a person who values their well-being. You are allowed to prioritize your own needs, even if it means disappointing someone else. Remember, no one else can meet your needs unless you first take responsibility for them yourself. Boundaries also extend to your time. In our modern world, we're constantly being asked to give our time to work, family, friends, and countless other commitments. But your time is one of your most valuable resources. Learning to say no to activities, people, or responsibilities that don't align with your values or bring you joy is essential for maintaining balance and protecting your peace. If something doesn't contribute positively to your life, it's okay to decline. You don't have to fill every moment of your day with tasks or obligations that drain you. Creating boundaries is also about protecting your emotional space. Sometimes, people can be emotionally draining or toxic, and it's important to recognize when these relationships are damaging your peace. If someone's behavior consistently makes you feel stressed, unappreciated, or unhappy, it's essential to protect yourself by limiting your interactions with them. This doesn't mean cutting people out of your life entirely, but it may mean distancing yourself from their negativity or learning to engage with them in a way that doesn't harm your emotional health. Boundaries around emotional energy are vital for maintaining a sense of peace and emotional stability. Another important aspect of boundaries is protecting your mental health. This means giving yourself the time and space to rest, recharge, and focus on your personal growth. In a world that glorifies constant hustle and productivity, it's easy to neglect your own mental and emotional needs. But taking care of your mind and soul is not a luxury, it's a necessity. Allow yourself time to disconnect from work, social media, and other distractions. Create time for activities that nurture your mental health, whether it's reading, meditating, journaling, or simply enjoying a quiet moment. Protecting your mental space ensures that you have the clarity and energy to pursue your goals and live authentically. While setting boundaries is an essential act of self-care, it's also a practice of self-compassion. When you set boundaries, you are treating yourself with kindness, acknowledging your worth, and giving yourself permission to rest, heal, and grow. It's a reminder that your needs are just as important as anyone else's. Boundaries allow you to preserve your energy for the things that truly matter and help you create a life that is aligned with your values and desires. Creating boundaries that protect your peace is not about being rigid or inflexible. It's about creating a life that is balanced, fulfilling, and true to who you are. Boundaries are the foundation of living for yourself. They allow you to say yes to the things that matter and no to the things that don't. When you establish clear boundaries, you create space for joy, growth, and peace. You show yourself that you are worthy of respect, love, and care, and you teach others to honor your needs as well. By protecting your peace, you allow yourself to live with more clarity, energy, and freedom. You reclaim your time, protect your emotions, and nurture your mind. This is the power of boundaries. They create the space necessary for you to thrive as your most authentic, empowered self. Chapter 6. Releasing the fear of letting go. Living for yourself requires letting go of the fear that often holds you back, the fear of change, of the unknown, and of losing what's comfortable. This chapter is about understanding the liberating power of releasing what no longer serves you and the beauty that comes with embracing the unknown. Letting go is not about surrendering or giving up. It's about making space for growth, healing, and new opportunities. The fear of letting go is deeply ingrained in us. We're often taught to hold on to things, to cling to relationships, jobs, or possessions because they represent stability and familiarity. But sometimes what we hold on to can become a burden. Whether it's a toxic relationship, a job that drains you, or outdated beliefs that no longer serve you, holding on to these things can prevent you from living fully and authentically. The fear of letting go is the fear of stepping into the unknown, fear of what will happen if you release control, if you allow change to enter your life. But what if the unknown isn't something to fear? What if it's where the magic of transformation happens? Letting go is an act of self-love. It's acknowledging that you are worthy of better, that you deserve to create space in your life for the things that align with your true desires and values. This might mean letting go of relationships that drain you, leaving behind a job that stifles your growth, or cutting ties with habits or beliefs that no longer resonate with who you want to be. Letting go is not about abandoning the past. It's about freeing yourself from the past's grip so that you can move forward with clarity and purpose. One of the most difficult things to let go of is the fear of failure. Many people stay stuck in situations or relationships because they're afraid of what will happen if they try something new or take a risk. But failure is not something to fear, it's something to embrace. Failure is a natural part of the learning process, and it is through failure that we grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient. When you let go of the fear of failure, you open yourself to new possibilities and opportunities for growth. You learn to take risks without the constant weight of fear holding you back. Letting go is also about releasing the need for perfection. Many of us hold on to the idea that we must get everything right before we can move forward. We become paralyzed by the belief that if we make a mistake or fail, it will be a reflection of our worth. But perfection is an illusion. The fear of imperfection can keep us from living our lives authentically, making bold decisions, or pursuing our dreams. When you release the need for perfection, you give yourself the freedom to be imperfect, to try new things, and to live life on your own terms. Another aspect of letting go is the release of old identities and labels that no longer serve you. Over time, we can become so attached to the roles we play, whether it's the good student, the hard worker, or the caretaker, that we forget who we really are underneath those labels. These identities can limit our potential and keep us locked in patterns of behavior that no longer align with who we want to become. Letting go of these old identities allows us to step into a new version of ourselves, a version that is free from the constraints of past expectations and ready to embrace a future of infinite possibilities. The process of letting go often involves a deep emotional release. This might mean grieving the loss of a relationship, job, or phase of life. It's important to acknowledge the pain that comes with change and allow yourself to feel the emotions that arise. Suppressing or ignoring your feelings only prolongs the healing process. Letting go requires acceptance of the emotional journey that comes with it. It's okay to mourn the things you're releasing, but understand that mourning is a part of the healing process. And with each tear, each moment of sadness, you make space for new joy, new opportunities, and new beginnings. A powerful way to release the fear of letting go is to practice mindfulness and meditation. These practices help you connect to the present moment and calm the anxious thoughts that often accompany the fear of change. When you're present, you're able to approach life with a sense of acceptance and peace rather than fear. Meditation helps you build the emotional resilience needed to navigate change with grace and confidence. By grounding yourself in the present, you can let go of the mental clutter and emotional baggage that weighs you down, making space for new experiences and personal growth. Letting go also involves trust in yourself, trust in the universe, and trust in the process of life. When you let go, you are essentially saying, "I trust that what is meant for me will come, and what I am releasing is no longer needed." Trusting the process of life means believing that every ending is just the beginning of something new. It means knowing that the path ahead is filled with endless possibilities, and you have the strength to walk it. When you let go, you open yourself to the beauty of the unknown. You allow yourself to be surprised by life, to experience things you never thought possible, and to grow in ways you never imagined. Releasing the fear of letting go brings freedom, peace, and excitement for the future. It allows you to live more fully, authentically, and without the constant weight of fear holding you back. Letting go is one of the most empowering acts you can make. It's a declaration that you are no longer bound by the past or by fear. You are ready to embrace your future, to trust yourself, and to step into the life that is waiting for you. The moment you let go, you give yourself the freedom to truly live for yourself, free from fear, free from limitations, and free from the need to hold on to what no longer serves you. Letting go is the first step toward embracing the life you were always meant to live. Chapter 7. Cultivating unshakable confidence in your own path. Living for yourself demands a deep-rooted confidence, a confidence that is not reliant on external validation or the opinions of others. It is a self-assurance that comes from within, rooted in your own worth, abilities, and the belief that you are capable of creating a life that aligns with your values, dreams, and desires. True confidence is not about arrogance or pretending to have it all together. It's about being unapologetically yourself and trusting in your own journey, regardless of the obstacles that may arise. One of the most powerful ways to cultivate unshakable confidence is to shift the focus away from comparison. We live in a world that constantly encourages us to compare ourselves to others. Social media, advertising, and even our personal relationships can make us feel like we're not enough, like we need to be doing more, achieving more, or becoming more like someone else. But the truth is, comparison only robs you of your confidence. It keeps you trapped in a cycle of self-doubt and insecurity, constantly measuring your worth against others' achievements, appearances, or lifestyles. Confidence comes when you fully embrace your individuality and stop trying to live up to other people's standards. Your journey is yours alone, and the only person you need to compare yourself to is the person you were yesterday. Each day is an opportunity to grow, to learn, and to get closer to the person you're becoming. Your path is unique, and when you stop looking around at others and focus solely on your own progress, you will find the confidence to keep moving forward, regardless of how your journey may look in comparison. Another essential part of building unshakable confidence is to acknowledge and celebrate your strengths. It's easy to focus on your weaknesses or areas of improvement, but doing so only undermines your confidence. Instead, take the time to recognize the qualities that make you exceptional, whether it's your resilience, creativity, intelligence, compassion, or determination. These strengths are the foundation of your confidence, and they are the qualities that will carry you through challenges, setbacks, and tough times. Celebrate every small victory, no matter how insignificant it may seem. Confidence grows when you acknowledge and appreciate the progress you've made, even if it's just one small step at a time. The more you focus on your strengths and successes, the more you build the belief in yourself that you are capable of achieving even greater things. Confidence is also about learning to trust your own decisions and intuition. How often do we second-guess ourselves, wondering if we've made the right choice or if we should have done things differently? The key to unshakable confidence is learning to trust yourself, even when the road ahead is uncertain. Your intuition is a powerful tool, and it will guide you to the choices that are aligned with your true desires and values. Trusting yourself means knowing that no matter the outcome, you have the strength and wisdom to handle whatever comes your way. You don't need to seek constant reassurance from others when you've learned to trust your inner voice. To cultivate confidence, you must also be willing to embrace vulnerability. This might seem counterintuitive. How can vulnerability lead to confidence? But the truth is, when you allow yourself to be vulnerable, you are giving yourself permission to be real, to be imperfect, and to learn from your experiences. Vulnerability is not a weakness, it's a strength that allows you to connect with others on a deeper level and to grow as a person. When you embrace your vulnerability, you stop pretending to be someone you're not, and that authenticity builds confidence. You show the world that you are enough just as you are, and you are capable of facing any challenge with grace and courage. A key element of building unshakable confidence is perseverance. Confidence is not about avoiding failure or setbacks. It's about how you respond when things don't go as planned. Life will throw curveballs, and not everything will go according to your vision, but the way you handle those challenges will define your confidence. When you persist through obstacles, keep moving forward despite setbacks, and maintain belief in yourself, you strengthen your confidence. Remember, confidence is built over time, through every hurdle you overcome and every challenge you face head-on. To continue building confidence, it's essential to stop seeking validation from external sources. When you rely on others to define your worth, you give away your power. Seeking validation can be an exhausting cycle, one that leaves you constantly looking for approval from others. But true confidence comes when you stop seeking validation and start giving it to yourself. You don't need others to affirm your worth when you already know your value. Practice self-love and self-compassion, and learn to embrace your worth without needing anyone else to confirm it. When you cultivate this inner affirmation, your confidence becomes unshakable. Part of building unshakable confidence is learning to handle criticism and judgment with grace. When you live for yourself, you will inevitably face criticism, whether it's from people who don't understand your choices, society's standards, or even your own inner doubts. But confidence is not about avoiding criticism. It's about how you handle it. Instead of letting criticism bring you down, use it as a tool for growth. Take constructive feedback and use it to improve yourself, but don't internalize negativity or let it define who you are. Remember, the opinions of others do not determine your worth. Unshakable confidence is about letting go of the need for perfection. Many people hold themselves back because they fear making mistakes or falling short of an ideal. But perfection is an illusion. Confidence grows when you accept that you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be real, courageous, and determined. Embrace the idea that mistakes and imperfections are part of the journey, and that every experience is a chance to learn and grow. The more you accept yourself as you are, the more your confidence will flourish. Cultivating unshakable confidence in your own path is a lifelong practice. It's about trusting yourself, embracing your uniqueness, and believing that you are capable of creating the life you want. Confidence is not something you either have or don't have. It's something you build through your actions, thoughts, and beliefs. When you begin to live for yourself and trust in your own journey, you'll find that confidence naturally follows. The more you step into your true power and let go of the need for approval from others, the more confident you become in your ability to navigate life with strength, grace, and authenticity. You are worthy, you are capable, and you are more than enough. Live for yourself and let your confidence shine through every step of the way. Chapter 8. Embracing the Beauty of Solitude. To truly live for yourself, you must first learn to embrace the beauty of solitude. Many people fear being alone, associating solitude with loneliness or isolation. However, solitude is not the absence of others. It is the presence of yourself. It is a state of being where you can reconnect with who you truly are, without the distractions, noise, and expectations of the outside world. Solitude is where your inner wisdom can flourish, where you can hear your own thoughts, and where you can reconnect with your deepest desires, dreams, and passions. The ability to enjoy and thrive in solitude is a powerful aspect of living authentically. When you are comfortable being by yourself, you no longer rely on the validation, company, or approval of others to feel fulfilled. You become your own source of happiness, contentment, and peace. Solitude gives you the space to reflect, to heal, to grow, and to explore your own inner world. It is in these quiet moments, away from the chaos of daily life, that you find clarity and the answers to questions that may have been clouded by external influences. Solitude allows you to rediscover the things that truly matter to you. In a world where we are constantly bombarded with distractions, social media, work pressures, societal expectations, it is easy to lose sight of our true selves. We may find ourselves living according to others' desires or chasing goals that don't even resonate with us. But when you spend time alone, you have the opportunity to reconnect with your core values, passions, and purpose. You can ask yourself the difficult questions, the ones that require honesty and introspection. What do I really want out of life? What brings me joy? What makes me feel alive? These are the kinds of questions that only solitude can offer you the space to answer. One of the greatest gifts of solitude is the opportunity for self-discovery. When you are alone, you can peel away the layers of societal conditioning, family expectations, and external pressures that have shaped who you are. You can strip away the roles you have played for others and reconnect with the pure essence of yourself. Solitude helps you understand your true needs, desires, and motivations without the influence of others. It allows you to explore your strengths and weaknesses, your dreams, your fears, and your authentic voice. Through this process of self-discovery, you build a deeper understanding of who you are, which is essential for living for yourself and not according to the expectations of others. Another powerful aspect of solitude is the opportunity it provides for personal growth. In the quiet space of being alone, you can focus on your own development, whether that means learning a new skill, reading, meditating, journaling, or simply taking the time to rest and recharge. Solitude gives you the time and freedom to work on yourself without the constant distractions of the outside world. It allows you to be intentional about your growth, to reflect on your progress, and to set new goals for your future. Personal growth is a lifelong journey, and solitude is the perfect environment to nourish that journey. In solitude, you also have the opportunity to nurture your creativity. Many of the world's greatest artists, writers, and innovators have attributed their best ideas to moments of solitude. Being alone allows you to tap into your creative potential without the noise of others' opinions or expectations. It's in the quiet moments that you can truly explore your imagination, experiment with new ideas, and connect with your inner creator. Whether you're an artist, a writer, a musician, or simply someone who wants to live a more creative life, solitude provides the space to unlock your fullest creative potential. Of course, embracing solitude does not mean avoiding social connections or relationships. It simply means learning to be at peace with yourself in moments of aloneness. It's about finding balance between the time spent with others and the time spent with yourself. Solitude should never feel like a punishment or a state of loneliness. It should be seen as an opportunity for self-renewal and self-discovery. When you learn to enjoy your own company, you become more equipped to build meaningful, fulfilling relationships with others. You no longer rely on others to complete you or make you feel whole. You are already whole, and your relationships become an extension of that completeness rather than a source of validation or fulfillment. In today's fast-paced, hyper-connected world, it is easy to become addicted to constant stimulation, always checking our phones, scrolling through social media, attending social events, or filling our time with work. But this constant noise and distraction can prevent us from connecting with our true selves. Solitude provides a reprieve from this overload, allowing us to clear our minds and reconnect with the present moment. It's in these quiet moments of solitude that you can experience the peace that comes from within, free from the pressures and demands of the outside world. Embracing solitude also helps you to build emotional resilience. When you spend time alone, you learn to confront your own emotions without the need to rely on others to process them for you. Solitude teaches you how to be comfortable with your own feelings, how to sit with discomfort, and how to heal yourself. Rather than running away from your emotions or seeking constant external distractions, you learn to face them with grace and acceptance. This ability to sit with your own emotions without judgment or avoidance is a crucial skill for emotional maturity and personal growth. Solitude is an essential tool for mental clarity. With the constant bombardment of information and external input, it can be difficult to think clearly or make decisions with conviction. When you take time for solitude, you give yourself the space to clear your mind, to process your thoughts, and to make decisions from a place of inner calm. You stop reacting to the world around you and start responding from a place of deep knowing and self-trust. The beauty of solitude lies in its ability to empower you to live on your own terms. It allows you to break free from the need for external validation or approval and to make choices that are true to your authentic self. Solitude gives you the space to hear your own voice, to listen to your own desires, and to trust in your own journey. It teaches you that you don't need anyone else to define you. You are the author of your own story, and solitude is the canvas on which you paint your masterpiece. Embracing solitude is a vital step in living for yourself. It is about creating the space to reconnect with your authentic self, to nurture your personal growth, and to cultivate the inner peace that comes from being comfortable in your own company. When you learn to embrace the beauty of solitude, you become more empowered, more self-aware, and more capable of living a life that is truly your own. Solitude is not a place of loneliness. It is a place of deep connection with yourself and the limitless potential within you. Embrace solitude, and you will discover the power of living for yourself, unapologetically and authentically. Chapter 9. Living in alignment with your true values. To live for yourself, you must first understand and embrace your true values. Values are the fundamental beliefs and principles that guide our decisions, behaviors, and actions. They represent the core of who we are and provide a compass that directs us on our path. When you live in alignment with your values, you are living authentically and staying true to who you are. This is one of the most powerful ways to live for yourself. By making choices that reflect your deepest convictions, desires, and truths. Living in alignment with your true values means that you are no longer swayed by the expectations or judgments of others. You no longer let societal pressures, family dynamics, or the influence of peers dictate how you live your life. Instead, you become the master of your own destiny, making decisions that honor your authentic self. It's about finding the courage to prioritize your values over external approval or conformity, knowing that when you live according to your values, you are living a life that is deeply fulfilling and meaningful. To begin living in alignment with your values, you must first take the time to identify what those values are. This requires deep reflection and self-awareness. What truly matters to you? What do you care about most in life? Is it integrity, honesty, love, freedom, creativity, adventure, family, or something else entirely? Everyone has a unique set of values, and the key to living for yourself is to understand what yours are and how they shape your choices. One way to identify your core values is to reflect on the moments in your life when you felt most fulfilled, joyful, and proud. What was happening during those times? What did you value most in those experiences? These moments are often a clue to the values that are most important to you. On the flip side, think about times when you felt frustrated, disconnected, or disillusioned. Often, these experiences occur when we are living out of alignment with our values, or when we compromise them for the sake of others. Understanding both sides of the equation can give you valuable insight into what truly matters to you. Once you have a clear understanding of your values, it's time to begin living in alignment with them. This requires conscious decision-making, intentional actions, and an unwavering commitment to staying true to yourself. When you make decisions that align with your values, you experience a deep sense of inner peace and satisfaction. There is a sense of congruence between your thoughts, actions, and beliefs, which creates a powerful sense of self-respect and self-worth. Living in alignment with your values also means setting boundaries that protect your values. Boundaries are essential in maintaining your integrity and ensuring that your time, energy, and resources are spent in ways that honor what matters most to you. When you set boundaries that reflect your values, you create space in your life for what truly matters, and you protect yourself from the negative influences or distractions that might pull you off course. For example, if one of your core values is family, you may set boundaries around work commitments to ensure that you spend quality time with your loved ones. Or if health is a priority, you may set boundaries around your eating habits or exercise routine. Setting these boundaries is not selfish. It's an act of self-respect and self-care. Living in alignment with your values also means being willing to say no when something doesn't resonate with your beliefs. Often, we say yes to things out of obligation, fear of disappointing others, or the desire to fit in. But saying yes to things that don't align with our values only leads to resentment, burnout, and inner conflict. Saying no can be one of the most empowering acts you can do for yourself. It's a declaration that your time, energy, and focus are precious, and that you are committed to living a life that reflects your deepest values. Saying no is not about being selfish. It's about being true to yourself and protecting your energy for the things that matter most. Another aspect of living in alignment with your values is taking consistent, intentional actions that reflect those values. It's easy to talk about our values or identify them in theory, but living in alignment requires action. If you value creativity, for example, you need to carve out time in your life to nurture that creativity through hobbies, projects, or personal expression. If you value health, you need to make choices that support your well-being, such as exercising regularly and eating nourishing foods. Living in alignment with your values is not just about thinking about them, it's about making them a living, breathing part of your daily life. Your actions should reflect the values you hold dear, and when they do, you will feel a deep sense of satisfaction and fulfillment. Living for yourself and aligning with your values also involves making peace with the fact that not everyone will understand or approve of your choices. People may challenge your decisions or criticize your path, especially if it goes against the grain of societal norms or expectations. But when you are rooted in your values, you no longer feel the need to seek validation from others. You trust in your own judgment and have the confidence to follow your own path, regardless of others' opinions. You know that when you are true to yourself, you are on the right track, even if it doesn't make sense to anyone else. The beauty of living in alignment with your values is that it brings clarity and purpose to your life. You no longer feel lost or uncertain about what to do next. Your values become a guiding light, helping you make decisions with confidence and conviction. When you know what you stand for and what is important to you, the path ahead becomes clearer, and your actions become more focused and intentional. One of the most rewarding aspects of living in alignment with your values is the deep sense of fulfillment and contentment it brings. Living in alignment with your true values is not always easy. It requires self-awareness, courage, and the willingness to make difficult decisions. But the rewards are immeasurable. When you live for yourself, guided by your core values, you create a life that is meaningful, authentic, and deeply satisfying. You stop living for others or conforming to societal pressures, and instead you step into your own power and design a life that reflects your true essence. This is the freedom of living for yourself, making choices, setting boundaries, and taking actions that honor your values and your authentic self. It's a life of purpose, clarity, and fulfillment. Chapter 10. Redefining success on your own terms. Living for yourself requires you to redefine what success truly means to you. For many, success has been shaped by external forces, society, family expectations, or cultural standards. From a young age, we are often taught to pursue certain milestones, achieving high grades, getting a prestigious job, owning material possessions, or maintaining a certain image. However, these external markers of success do not necessarily align with who we are or what we genuinely desire in life. To live for yourself, you must learn to redefine success in a way that reflects your own values, passions, and unique vision of fulfillment. Redefining success starts with questioning the traditional definitions we have inherited. For example, success is often associated with wealth, status, and power in our society. But how many people have achieved all these things only to feel empty inside? How many successful individuals, by the world's standards, are dissatisfied with their lives, unfulfilled in their relationships, or struggling with mental health? The pursuit of success, when defined by others, can leave us feeling disconnected from ourselves, constantly chasing something that feels out of reach or ultimately unimportant. True success, however, is deeply personal. It is about creating a life that aligns with your authentic self, not conforming to a mold set by others. It involves knowing what makes you happy, what brings you peace, and what contributes to your sense of purpose. To redefine success on your own terms, you must first tune out the noise of external pressures and look inward. Ask yourself, what does success look like for me? What kind of life do I want to lead? What makes me feel proud, fulfilled, and content? This process involves reflecting on your values, desires, and goals. For some, success may be defined by creating a loving family, living a life of creativity, or contributing to a cause they care deeply about. For others, it might mean achieving freedom, whether that's financial independence, the ability to travel, or living without the constraints of societal expectations. Success could also mean prioritizing health and well-being, or cultivating deep and meaningful relationships with others. The important thing is that you get clear on what matters most to you and create a vision of success that reflects that. One of the most powerful steps in redefining success is learning to let go of comparison. Society loves to compare people to one another, often using metrics like wealth, job titles, or material possessions as a way to measure value. Social media, in particular, fuels this culture of comparison, constantly showing us the highlight reels of others' lives while we are left to compare them to our own behind the scenes. However, comparison is a trap. It steals your joy and prevents you from recognizing the beauty and value of your own unique journey. When you compare yourself to others, you lose sight of what makes you special and you undermine your own progress. By letting go of comparison, you free yourself from the need to measure your success against anyone else's. You stop chasing someone else's dream and begin to focus on building your own. You recognize that everyone's path is different and that success is not a one-size-fits-all concept. Your success is about how well you are living in alignment with your own values, goals, and desires, not about matching up to someone else's expectations or timeline. Another key component of redefining success is embracing the idea of progress over perfection. In the pursuit of success, we often fall into the trap of perfectionism, believing that in order to be successful, everything must be flawless. We set impossibly high standards for ourselves, which can lead to burnout, frustration, and even self-doubt. However, true success is not about perfection. It's about growth, learning, and becoming better each day. Embrace the idea that progress is enough. Every step you take toward your goals, no matter how small, is a victory. Celebrate those victories and recognize that the journey is just as important as the destination. Redefining success also involves developing a mindset of abundance rather than scarcity. The conventional definition of success often comes from a place of scarcity, where we feel that resources, time, money, opportunities are limited. We may feel like we have to compete with others for success, or that we must constantly hustle to stay ahead. However, when you embrace an abundance mindset, you recognize that there is more than enough to go around. Opportunities are abundant, and success is not a zero-sum game. There is room for everyone to thrive in their own way. By adopting this mindset, you can let go of the fear of missing out and stop seeing success as a competition. Instead, you can focus on creating the life you want without the pressure to outdo anyone else. Redefining success requires you to embrace the idea of balance. Success does not mean working yourself into the ground, sacrificing your health, relationships, or well-being for the sake of achievement. True success is about balance, finding harmony between your career, personal life, health, and passions. It's about creating a life that nurtures all aspects of yourself, not just one part. This might mean prioritizing self-care, taking time to relax, or setting boundaries in your work life. When you live in balance, you avoid burnout and experience a deeper sense of fulfillment in every area of your life. Redefining success also means being willing to let go of outdated or unhelpful goals. Often we hold on to goals that were imposed on us by society or by others. These goals may have made sense at one point in our lives, but as we grow and evolve, they may no longer serve us. For example, you might have spent years working toward a particular career or achieving a certain lifestyle, only to realize that it no longer brings you joy or aligns with your values. Letting go of these goals is an act of liberation. It allows you to make room for new goals that are more in line with who you are today, it's okay to change your mind and redefine what success looks like at different stages of your life. Redefining success requires resilience and the willingness to embrace failure as part of the journey. Success is rarely a straight path. It is often filled with setbacks, challenges, and failures. However, failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of the process. Embracing failure allows you to learn, grow, and improve. When you redefine success, you begin to see failures not as roadblocks, but as opportunities for growth and learning. With this mindset, you can persevere through challenges, adjust your course when necessary, and continue moving forward with confidence and determination. When you redefine success on your own terms, you create a life that is truly yours, one that brings you fulfillment, joy, and peace. You stop living for others and start living for yourself. You no longer chase after external markers of success, but instead pursue what makes you feel alive and authentic. Redefining success is a transformative process that allows you to break free from societal expectations and embrace a life that is deeply meaningful and aligned with your true desires. Success, when defined by you, becomes a reflection of your values, passions, and dreams. It is about creating a life that makes you proud, content, and fulfilled, not based on the standards set by others, but on what matters most to you. Redefining success is the key to living for yourself, authentically and unapologetically. Chapter 11. Cultivating Inner Peace through Self-Acceptance. To truly live for yourself, you must cultivate the practice of self-acceptance. Self-acceptance is the foundation upon which you build a life of inner peace, freedom, and fulfillment. It is the ability to embrace who you are, flaws, imperfections, strengths, and weaknesses, and recognize that you are enough as you are. In a world that constantly encourages comparison, perfection, and self-criticism, self-acceptance is often the most radical act of all. Yet, it is essential for living authentically and creating a life that aligns with your true self. Self-acceptance means freeing yourself from the constant need for approval or validation from others. It is about learning to stand firmly in your own worth, independent of external opinions or judgments. So often, we seek affirmation from the outside world, whether through praise, social media likes, or the approval of friends and family. But the truth is, no amount of external validation can ever fill the void of self-acceptance. It is only when we truly accept ourselves that we can feel whole, worthy, and at peace. One of the first steps toward self-acceptance is acknowledging that you are human and therefore imperfect. There is no such thing as a flawless person, and striving for perfection only sets you up for disappointment and frustration. We all make mistakes, have setbacks, and experience challenges. These moments are not signs of failure. They are part of the human experience and opportunities for growth. Self-acceptance involves being kind to yourself in the face of your mistakes and learning from them, rather than harshly criticizing or punishing yourself. To cultivate self-acceptance, you must also let go of the need for external validation. This does not mean that feedback or appreciation from others is unimportant. It simply means that your sense of worth should not be dependent on it. When you rely too heavily on others' opinions to feel good about yourself, you give away your power. You allow other people's views of you to dictate how you feel about yourself, which can leave you feeling unstable, insecure, and constantly seeking approval. Instead, self-acceptance means finding validation within yourself. It's about learning to trust your own judgment, to recognize your inherent worth, and to celebrate your uniqueness. This involves understanding that you are valuable because of who you are, not because of what you do or what others think of you. Your value is intrinsic, and when you begin to truly accept yourself, you free yourself from the need to prove anything to anyone. You can stand confidently in your own skin, knowing that you are enough, just as you are. Another important aspect of self-acceptance is letting go of the inner critic. We all have an internal voice that tells us we're not good enough, that we should be doing more, or that we need to change something about ourselves. This voice can be loud and persistent, and it often stems from past experiences, societal expectations, or feelings of inadequacy. However, the inner critic is not the truth. It is simply a voice that has been conditioned over time by external influences. To embrace self-acceptance, you must learn to quiet this inner critic and replace it with a kinder, more compassionate voice. Practice speaking to yourself with the same kindness, understanding, and encouragement that you would offer to a close friend. Self-acceptance also involves embracing your unique qualities and strengths. Too often, we focus on what we lack or what we wish we could change about ourselves. However, true self-acceptance means appreciating all of the qualities that make you who you are, the strengths, talents, quirks, and even the things you may have once considered weaknesses. These aspects of you are what make you distinct and valuable in the world. When you accept yourself fully, you no longer feel the need to hide or change who you are to fit in. You begin to celebrate your individuality and recognize that you are enough exactly as you are. Self-acceptance requires embracing your past and the experiences that have shaped you. Your past, with all its ups and downs, triumphs and failures, has contributed to who you are today. While it is easy to feel shame or regret about past mistakes or missed opportunities, self-acceptance means letting go of that shame and acknowledging that every experience has been a lesson. You are not defined by your past. You are defined by the way you choose to move forward. When you accept your past, you free yourself from the burden of regret and self-blame, allowing you to live more fully in the present and create a brighter future. In the journey towards self-acceptance, it's also crucial to practice self-compassion. Self-compassion is the ability to treat yourself with the same love, kindness, and understanding that you would offer to someone you care about deeply. It means acknowledging your struggles and challenges without judgment, and offering yourself grace when things don't go as planned. Self-compassion is not about making excuses for yourself or avoiding responsibility. It is about recognizing that you, like everyone else, are deserving of love and kindness, especially in times of difficulty. When you cultivate self-compassion, you allow yourself to heal, grow, and move forward without carrying the weight of guilt or self-criticism. One of the most profound ways to cultivate self-acceptance is through mindfulness and self-awareness. By practicing mindfulness, you become more attuned to your thoughts, feelings, and reactions. You learn to observe yourself without judgment, simply noticing the patterns of your thoughts and behaviors. This awareness allows you to identify the moments when you are being hard on yourself or when your inner critic is taking over. Through mindfulness, you can create space between your thoughts and reactions, allowing you to respond to yourself with more compassion and understanding. Over time, this practice helps to reinforce a sense of self-acceptance and self-love. Self-acceptance also means honoring your boundaries and making choices that align with your needs and desires. It's about saying no to things that drain your energy or go against your values, and saying yes to things that nourish and support you. When you accept yourself, you no longer feel the need to please others at the expense of your own well-being. You learn to prioritize your own needs and take care of yourself without guilt or shame. This act of honoring yourself is an essential part of living for yourself. As you cultivate self-acceptance, you will notice that your life begins to shift. You will feel more at peace with who you are, more confident in your choices, and more empowered to live authentically. You will stop seeking external validation or approval, and instead, you will find strength and fulfillment in your own self-worth. Self-acceptance is the key to inner peace. When you fully accept yourself, imperfections, mistakes, strengths, and all, you free yourself from the weight of self-doubt, comparison, and insecurity. You can step into your life with a sense of calm and confidence, knowing that you are enough, just as you are. Living for yourself means embracing your authenticity, and self-acceptance is the foundation upon which that authenticity is built. It is the key to unlocking your true potential, allowing you to live a life that is aligned with your deepest desires and values. When you accept yourself fully, you step into a life of peace, joy, and freedom. You stop living for others and begin to live for yourself, free from the need for approval and filled with the confidence that you are enough. Chapter 12. Releasing the need for external validation. One of the most empowering shifts you can make in your journey of living for yourself is releasing the need for external validation. Throughout our lives, we are often conditioned to seek approval from others, whether from family, friends, colleagues, or society at large. This need for external validation can manifest in countless ways: seeking praise for our achievements, needing others to affirm our worth, or constantly worrying about how we are perceived by those around us. However, living for yourself means breaking free from this dependency and learning to validate yourself from within. The desire for external validation is deeply ingrained in our culture. From an early age, we are taught to seek approval, whether through grades in school, accolades in our careers, or likes and comments on social media. The constant pursuit of validation can lead to a cycle of seeking external recognition to feel good about ourselves, but this external validation is often fleeting. It can be inconsistent, unreliable, and ultimately unsatisfying. The moment we receive praise, we might feel elated, but that feeling often fades quickly, leaving us searching for more. This constant cycle of seeking external approval can leave us feeling ungrounded, insecure, and dependent on others for our self-worth. Releasing the need for external validation begins with recognizing that true validation comes from within. Your worth is not determined by the opinions or approval of others. It is inherent in who you are as a person, in your values, your actions, and your authenticity. When you start to recognize that your value is not dependent on others' perceptions, you free yourself from the endless cycle of seeking approval. You learn to trust yourself and honor your own feelings, decisions, and desires. The first step in releasing external validation is to become aware of when and why you seek approval from others. Often, this behavior is unconscious. You might find yourself doing things simply to gain others' approval, wearing certain clothes to fit in, choosing a career path because others expect it, or engaging in conversations because you want to be liked. Reflect on these actions and ask yourself, am I doing this because I truly want to, or because I want others to think highly of me? This awareness is the key to breaking free from the need for validation. When you recognize these patterns, you can begin to shift your focus away from seeking approval and toward living in alignment with your authentic self. One powerful way to release the need for external validation is to practice self-affirmation. Self-affirmation involves reminding yourself of your own worth, abilities, and values. This practice helps you build a strong internal foundation of self-worth that is not reliant on others' opinions. Start by acknowledging your strengths and accomplishments, no matter how small. Celebrate the things you do well and the qualities that make you unique. When you affirm your worth from within, you begin to recognize that you do not need others to validate your existence or your actions. You can stand confidently in who you are, knowing that you are enough without needing approval from anyone else. Another important aspect of releasing external validation is learning to embrace rejection and criticism without letting it define you. In life, not everyone will agree with you or approve of your choices, and that's perfectly okay. Rejection or criticism is often a reflection of others' perspectives, not a judgment of your worth as a person. When you are no longer dependent on external validation, you can handle rejection with grace. Instead of letting negative feedback undermine your confidence, you can view it as an opportunity for growth or a reflection of someone else's perspective that doesn't necessarily apply to you. This shift allows you to maintain a strong sense of self-worth, regardless of others' opinions. Releasing the need for external validation also involves letting go of the fear of judgment. We live in a world where judgment is common, and many people base their actions and decisions on what others might think. This fear of judgment can be paralyzing, causing you to hold back from pursuing your true desires or expressing yourself authentically. However, when you let go of the need for validation, you free yourself from the fear of judgment. You realize that judgment is inevitable and that it doesn't determine your value. People will always have opinions, but their opinions do not define who you are. When you live for yourself, you no longer feel the need to please everyone or to conform to others' expectations. An important part of releasing external validation is learning to set boundaries. When you seek validation from others, you often sacrifice your own needs and desires to gain approval. By setting clear boundaries, you create space for yourself to honor your own values and needs, rather than constantly seeking to please others. Setting boundaries helps you protect your energy, time, and emotional well-being. It empowers you to make decisions based on what is best for you, not based on what others expect or demand. Boundaries are essential for living authentically and freeing yourself from the constant pressure of external validation. One of the most transformative aspects of releasing external validation is developing a deep sense of self-reliance. This does not mean you isolate yourself or cut off relationships with others. It means you learn to trust yourself and rely on your own inner guidance to make decisions, navigate challenges, and pursue your goals. When you become self-reliant, you stop looking to others for answers or approval. You trust that you have the wisdom, strength, and resources within you to create the life you desire. This self-reliance empowers you to take ownership of your choices and your life, without needing validation from the outside world. As you release the need for external validation, you also cultivate a sense of inner peace. When you are no longer constantly seeking approval from others, you free yourself from the stress and anxiety that often accompany this pursuit. You no longer feel the need to constantly measure up or compete with others. Instead, you can focus on living authentically, pursuing your passions, and making choices that align with your true self. This inner peace allows you to approach life with a sense of calm and confidence, knowing that your worth is not dependent on anyone else's opinion. Another powerful way to release the need for external validation is by letting go of the desire to impress others. When you stop focusing on impressing others, you create space to live for yourself and pursue what genuinely brings you joy. You can stop living for the applause or approval of others and start living for the fulfillment and satisfaction of your own heart. This shift in focus allows you to embrace a more fulfilling and meaningful life, where your actions are guided by your inner desires, not by the need to impress others. Releasing the need for external validation is a continuous process, and it requires practice and patience. It's easy to fall back into old habits of seeking approval or seeking external recognition, but with time you can strengthen your internal validation muscle. Every time you affirm your worth, set a boundary, or make a decision based on your true desires, you reinforce the belief that you are enough without needing anyone else's approval. Living for yourself means trusting your own judgment, honoring your own desires, and finding fulfillment from within. When you release the need for external validation, you become empowered to live authentically and make decisions that align with your true self. You stop looking for approval and start living for your own happiness and fulfillment. This is one of the most liberating and transformative acts you can make on your journey to living for yourself. By embracing self-validation, you unlock the freedom to create a life that is uniquely yours, free from the constraints of societal expectations and the opinions of others. You become your own biggest supporter, and that support is all you need to live a life of confidence, fulfillment, and peace. Chapter 13. Embracing the power of letting go. Living for yourself often requires letting go of outdated beliefs, toxic relationships, and self-limiting habits that hold you back. The act of letting go is not a sign of weakness. It is a powerful expression of freedom and self-love. When you release what no longer serves you, you make space for what truly matters and for the life you were always meant to live. This chapter delves into the transformative power of letting go and how it can lead to a life of authenticity, peace, and fulfillment. The first step in embracing the power of letting go is recognizing what you need to release. Many of us hold on to things, whether it's grudges, past mistakes, fear of change, or unhealthy attachments, that weigh us down. These burdens prevent us from fully embracing our potential and living for ourselves. Holding on to the past, whether it's painful experiences, negative relationships, or unmet expectations, can create emotional baggage that blocks your ability to move forward. To truly live for yourself, you must confront these areas of your life and make a conscious decision to release what no longer serves your growth or well-being. Letting go can be difficult because we often have emotional attachments to the things we need to release. We may hold on to toxic relationships because we fear being alone or feel guilty for ending them. We may cling to past hurts and mistakes because they define our story and feel familiar. But the truth is, holding on to these things only keeps us trapped in a cycle of pain, fear, and regret. The more you hold on to the past, the less you are able to fully embrace the present and the future. One of the most powerful aspects of letting go is releasing the need for control. Many of us spend our lives trying to control the outcomes of every situation, from our careers to our relationships to our personal goals. We believe that if we can just control every detail, we will find happiness and success. However, the truth is, control is an illusion. Life is unpredictable, and trying to control every aspect of it only creates stress, frustration, and disappointment. Letting go of control means trusting that things will unfold as they are meant to and having the courage to embrace uncertainty. This surrender allows you to flow with life rather than resist it and frees you from the constant pressure of trying to make everything perfect. To let go, you must also release your attachment to the idea of perfection. Many of us struggle with perfectionism, believing that we must do everything perfectly in order to be worthy or successful. However, perfection is an unattainable standard that only leads to dissatisfaction and burnout. Letting go of perfectionism means accepting that mistakes and imperfections are part of the human experience. When you stop striving for perfection, you allow yourself to be more authentic, vulnerable, and open to growth. You embrace the beauty in imperfection and learn to appreciate progress over perfection. Another powerful aspect of letting go is releasing fear and limiting beliefs. Fear is often one of the greatest obstacles to living for yourself. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of judgment. All of these fears can paralyze you and prevent you from taking bold action. Similarly, limiting beliefs, those negative thoughts and assumptions you hold about yourself, can keep you stuck in a cycle of self-doubt and inaction. Letting go of these fears and beliefs means shifting your mindset and choosing to believe in your own potential. It means confronting the beliefs that hold you back and replacing them with empowering thoughts that support your growth and success. When you release fear and limiting beliefs, you open the door to new possibilities and opportunities that you would have never imagined possible. Letting go also means releasing the need to please others. For many people, living for the approval of others is a deeply ingrained habit. We go through life trying to meet the expectations of our parents, our partners, our friends, and society at large. This constant need to please others can cause us to lose sight of our own desires, values, and priorities. To truly live for yourself, you must learn to stop seeking external approval and start making choices based on what feels right for you. Letting go of the need to please others means embracing your own desires and values, regardless of what others think. You begin to live authentically and without fear of judgment, knowing that your happiness is the most important thing. Letting go can also mean forgiving yourself and others. Holding on to grudges, resentment, or guilt only keeps you tied to the past and prevents you from moving forward. When you forgive, you release the emotional weight that comes with holding on to pain. Forgiving yourself means letting go of the self-blame and shame that often accompany past mistakes. It means accepting that you are human and that making mistakes is a part of life. Forgiving others means letting go of the hurt they may have caused you and choosing to free yourself from the emotional burden of anger or resentment. When you forgive, you give yourself the gift of peace and open the door to healing and growth. One of the most important steps in the process of letting go is learning to trust the flow of life. Often, we hold on to things because we are afraid of what will happen if we let go. We fear the unknown, or worry that we won't be able to cope without the things we're attached to. However, life has a way of working itself out, even when we can't see the bigger picture. Trusting the flow of life means having faith that everything is unfolding as it should, and that by letting go, you are making space for something better to enter your life. When you trust in the process of life, you can let go with peace, knowing that new opportunities and growth await you on the other side. The act of letting go is liberating. It allows you to break free from the chains of the past and step into the future with a renewed sense of purpose and clarity. It frees you from the weight of unnecessary attachments and allows you to live with more joy, peace, and authenticity. When you let go, you make room for new experiences, new opportunities, and new versions of yourself. You allow yourself to evolve, grow, and live in alignment with your true self. To embrace the power of letting go, you must be willing to release the things that no longer serve your highest good. It takes courage to let go of familiar patterns, people, and beliefs, but it is the key to living a life that is true to you. Letting go is not about giving up or resigning yourself to something less. It is about making space for something greater. It is about releasing what holds you back and stepping into a future that is filled with possibility, freedom, and fulfillment. When you embrace the power of letting go, you take control of your life in a way that is empowering and transformative. You stop living in the past and start living fully in the present. You create space for new growth, new opportunities, and new beginnings. You release the fear, attachment, and limitations that once held you back, and step confidently into the life you were meant to live. Letting go is the key to unlocking your fullest potential and living for yourself.